y'all? It's your boy, the one and only A Switch, aka why my sword so long, aka the Komaki Tiger Dropper, aka the Lazy Eye Leviathan, aka is that some material in your pocket, or you just happy to see me? Bringing you yet another episode of Switches Sites, episode 189. I have returned. Let me do some real quick. 1 second. If I can open it. Just let me open it, please. Please. I have it's been a while. It's been a good while. Yeah, a lot has happened since we last talked. I don't know how do I even really start, but I guess I'll just start. So at least, I said I was going to take a little bit of time off, but not this long necessarily, but yeah, my mom passed away, so I took that pretty hard. I mean, still technically kind of taking it hard, not gonna lie, but I'm at least on I don't know. I'm at least kind of on a better spirit, if you will. At least to a point where I feel like I could start trying to get back in the swing of things. But yeah. I don't know. The more I'm like as I'm doing this, I don't know, it's starting to sink in more, but nonetheless, we'll just see how this pans out. I don't even know anymore, but trying to have a optimistic outlook on everything, in terms of loss and grief. Also, just know that it's okay not to be okay. That's one thing that I really learned, and has helped me through a lot. Just having a self-awareness to know that you're not okay. And I think that in of itself kind of helps dictate how you approach a lot of stuff too. So yeah, man, I don't know where I was going. I was in a very cheerful mood, but as soon as I hit record, I don't know. I was just not, man, I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm not ready. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. I'm going to try to keep going either way. Man, where was I going with that? my mind totally went on a tangent, but nonetheless, yeah. I took that pretty hard, and I wasn't really in a mood to podcast. You know, like I used to. Being in a happy-go-lucky state, but um, I don't know. Just also another form of just being transparent about stuff, what's going on in my life. Um, so yeah, yeah, man. I feel like I was going somewhere, but I keep losing it. I keep losing it. Maybe I'm just starting to go in deep thought outside of it, but yeah, loss is hard. Grief is hard. Um, my mom, she was one of the kindest, nicest women I knew growing up, especially, and yeah, just her no longer being here. I don't know. It was it's like an emptiness to an extent, you know. Yeah, yeah, man. I was I was going somewhere, but I'm trying to find it. Trying to find it. Um, yeah, yeah. So that's pretty much why I've been silent. Well, not necessarily silent. I've been kind of been on, the socials and stuff, but um in general, it's been tougher to, I don't know, move on. I guess that's the biggest part too. Just it's the one thing where, have the grief and loss, and the funeral already took place and stuff, and I'm trying to get back to quote unquote normal, but it's just like, I don't know, just the expectation just go back to normal is always cold and tough in a lot of ways. That, like, oh well, your mom died, I guess just go back to normal now. All right, let's move on. Which I don't think is as black and white or like clear cut for everybody. I think technically everybody's different in terms of how they take loss and grief for somebody that's close to them. But um, yeah, I just feel like for those of you that may be listening or have not heard from me for a while, was to know what's going on in my life right now. So that was the biggest thing, and then all the drama and stuff and everything that came entailed with that. Trying to figure out all the details of burying your mom and all the dynamics of like planning a funeral and stuff. And yeah, it was it's a lot. It was a lot of stuff going on there. So yeah, I say that just to, I guess, I don't know, paint the picture, give an idea of what's going on. Um so yeah, I don't know. I I came into this podcast, this episode, thinking I was somewhat like back in my, cheerful mood, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I might need more time. I might need more time. Yeah. I had everything planned out. I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna talk about all the news, like what I've been playing, but I don't know. I'm feeling very conflicted right now. Like it literally just started hitting me as I started hitting me as I as I just hit record. So I'm just gonna keep going. I'm gonna try to keep going. yeah, yeah. Outside of that, happy Leap Day. This is a day we won't see in what, another 4 years from now. A part of me, after hearing some of the news of like some like games and game servers and stuff are like going out of whack because technically they didn't account for this day in particular because the servers think it is already March 1st, but it's not. And a part of me was like, I don't know, I don't want stuff to get funky with me like uploading this or whatever. I was like, let me wait until next week. But nonetheless, we'll just see how things go regardless of the whole nature of this episode right now. But yeah. Also happy Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth Day. Yeah. Couldn't have come at a better time, let me tell you. Very much looking forward to that. Outside of that, I don't know, man. That's pretty much been it. Pretty much been it, really. On a good side and a very bad side, but hey, I'm still going. I'm still pressing on. I don't know. Just I'm trying. I'm trying my best. that's probably like the I don't know, how would I say it? Story of my life. I'm trying my best. Trying my best. Yeah. Okay. Man, I literally was not prepared by just the train of thought I went into at the time. It really just threw me off. Not even gonna lie. So, without further ado, let's stop the dilly-dallying and get right into it. First topic of discussion. Until Dawn, of course, one of the probably most pretty notable games in general for, at least for the PlayStation 4, which is, kind of like a Telltale-esque choose your own adventure type of game where, you can determine the fate of various characters in the game in terms of whether they live or die at certain points. News came out that a movie adaptation based on the game is in the works. This is by David, or at least it seems to be directed by David F. Sandberg and Gary Doberman. Excuse me. Gary Doberman, who did It, Annabelle and the Nun. What's his name do? What's his name do? Sandberg, I think he directed something notable recently. Closet Space, Lights Out, Annabelle the Creation. I think I'm assuming a sequel. Oh, he did Shazam. Says Shazam, which was pretty good. And Shazam: Fury of the Gods. So, I mean, hey, seems decent. I think the biggest question is the actors. I think the actors is really gonna make or break this movie, in a lot of ways. And then that's probably the biggest thing. And considering that the considering that the game had real actors portraying the characters in the game, it seems like, and I think what a lot of people are pretty much saying, why not just bring all the actors back and just age them up a bit, and technically the plot still would work. Because at least the base plot from the video game was that these are high school, I'm pretty sure high school students that like went on this lodge cabin for a weekend, and shit got crazy, shit got awry, but you know, yeah. So I don't know. They could do that. That would be ideal, in my opinion. But then it's also the plot. Like it's safe to say that it likely they're not gonna do any choose your own adventure, since that would presumably take a lot of time. I mean, that would you know what, that would I just thought about that now. That'd be pretty dope. Kind of like essentially what what's the movie? Black Mirror Bandersnatch did. Like, literally a Netflix interactive movie where you got to choose between choices, and that determined the outcome of the movie in a lot of ways. Yeah, that would have been dope. That I would have taken that over like a theatrical release if they like did a Until Dawn movie and it was like exclusive to Netflix or whatever streaming platform, and then you'd be able to watch it and interact in the same vein as you would in the game. Would have been pretty dope. I mean, obviously you take out all the extensive interactive stuff like aiming and I don't know, exploration and stuff, but that would have been that would have been cool. Another idea I had in my head about this, very unrealistic, but you could you could have multiple versions of the movies, out in the wild, which I think apparently Spider-Man in Beyond the Spider-Verse did this, where they made some very minute changes to certain parts, and then they released these versions out. Nothing like drastically different, but at least it was, if you looked hard enough, I guess, or watched the movies back to back or whatever, you could see it. But something like that would be kind of cool, where like certain characters died and somebody's audiences watch, and then other characters died and another audiences watch, and then being able to kind of have that novelty kind of hey, am I showing this person died by such and such? Well, no, my person died by a brick or whatever. I don't know. That would be kind of cool. That's the type of novelty I miss in this day and age. We need to get back to that. I miss that novelty. Very unrealistic, mind you, but I mean, it would be cool though. It would be cool. I think that would be a cool, I don't know, quote unquote gimmick that would get a lot of people, I don't know, invested and interested. And like, oh man, y'all hear about this movie Until Dawn? And like, the movie you see is different from the movie, somebody else's watches. Oh man, what was your experience? That I think there's something there in my opinion, but I think it would take a lot of work and be expensive, and certain theaters may not cooperate, maybe only get one particular version, or there will be one consistent version that plays, and then there's the disparity between like, oh man, at least this version was way better than the other version, so I don't know if you want to watch that version. Yeah, so on the other side I can see that angle, but still, I don't know. I don't think, I'm curious, if I assume maybe that potentially has been done to some extent, maybe like a small amount. I guess that's technically how test screenings work in a way, but that's just you're playing the movie to get a feel and gauge before it actually, and they make changes. So I don't know. Either way, cautiously optimistic. I think it's gonna be, as somebody who played the game many times, I think it's gonna be tough to, I don't know, live up to expectations. I don't know, of the game, you know. But who knows? I mean, anything's possible technically. So anything is possible. Moving on. Disney has invested 1.5 billion in a Fortnite creator Epic Games to work on new games in an entertainment universe. Players will play, watch, shop, and engage with content, characters, and stories from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Avatar, and more. So this is pretty huge in a lot of ways. At least the biggest, most obvious, I think, aspect is, of course, the skins in Fortnite are going to be pretty much guaranteed. On top of probably getting almost every obscure, random Fortnite skin known to man. If you wanted that dude that gets shot in Star Wars, in Fortnite, boy, you probably in luck. You probably in luck. You want that you want that dude in X-Men that can morph into anybody. I mean, hey, all two of you, boy, you in for a treat. You want that you want that old dude. You want that old dude from Up. Boy, you in for a good time. You in for a treat. I don't know. You want Puss in Boots. You want Puss in Boots in Fortnite, boy. You might get what you've been praying for. I'm just I'm just saying. You want Puss in Boots and you want that Puss in Boots skin. You just might get it now, especially. You want you want that? It's a trap. You want that? It's a trap. I think what's the name? I think General Akbar. If I was right about that, that's crazy because I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan, but nonetheless, you want that General Akbar skin. You might get what you asked for. You just might get what you asked for, especially now. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I think it's safe to say they're probably gonna do a lot of implementation with Fortnite, since that's like, the game that everybody has to some capacity. That, like, they're probably maybe gonna try to shove in some other component, like, at least what they're currently doing with like the racing game they added, as well as like the Rock Band game and Lego within Fortnite. So probably be a safe bet we're gonna see something maybe more focused, with the Disney and all the related IPs. Kind of something like what was it? Disney. It was the one game with all the Disney characters and stuff that you could buy the figures and stuff. I think Disney Infinity, I want to say, that, you could play with the characters. If you bought the character and scanned it in, you could play them in the game, and then you can basically kind of like a video game version of a toy box, essentially. It seemed like so. Yeah, interesting stuff, interesting implications. Every random Marvel Disney skin on a man will come to light, probably. So there you go. Moving on. Persona 3 Reload DLC leaked from a fairly notable Atlas leaker via their Twitter. Persona 3 Reload will receive DLC containing the answer in the future. Please wait for more information at a later date. Multiple DLC is planned and will release within the fiscal year. So that is probably the biggest criticization. The greatest critical point. Criticization, right? Criticize. Either way, the biggest point of contention that people are having with Persona 3 Reload, the remake to Persona 3, is that it is missing the DLC or the added component from Persona 3 Portable, where you can play the female version of the main character, basically. And there's some modifications to, like, she can romance like the guys instead of the girls, as the, you know, adjacent to the guy. And there is some unique story elements and stuff that's, you know, exclusive to the female in the game versus the male. So yeah, so at least that's cool that at least it's DLC and they're not gonna make us buy the game again, which that would be annoying in of itself. But I think this is definitely the way to go about it, where you know, you at least have the base game and just have to buy the DLC, which is, I mean, in of itself is a little scummy to an extent, but you know, what can you do? But I mean, hey, at least hopefully we get the full content, you know, from Persona 3 Portable with Persona 3 Reload. So pretty cool as somebody who doesn't really have an attachment to, you know, playing this DLC or whatever, but it is at least as good, at least from what I've heard from fans of the series, of this particular title out of Personas and whatnot, that people really want that component. So it seems like that's likely to happen, but guess we'll see. We shall see. Moving on. Microsoft, probably one of the biggest news components that came out in the past few weeks, was I think this started out as a rumor that Microsoft is bringing some of their Xbox exclusives to quote unquote competing platforms, so PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. So that was a rumor for a bit, and then I think the rumor got a bit more traction. When I think there was some oddities with the physical games for Xbox, where I think they were telling people to take the games off the shelves and stop printing Xbox games, but I think that kind of got retracted to an extent. But nonetheless, people were still talking. I think it was one particular game. They were saying an Xbox exclusive game, Hi-Fi Rush, was coming to PS5 and Nintendo Switch because there was like some leaked shirts in the game for these versions that was like, showed that like, I forgot what they said, but they basically were clearly like exclusive to these particular platforms. Like it was something reminiscent of per PlayStation, like a blue shirt that says something snarky in terms of like a PlayStation or whatever. Let me actually look it up. Rush exclusive. Where is it? Yeah, in the game files, exclusive T-shirt textures. I was looking up the post, but they look to be deleted. Let's see if they're in images. Anybody got them in images? I don't think so. But basically, they're clearly indicative of being on, the Switch and PlayStation. Like there was a blue one that said something, and then there was a red one that like, said something as well. So so that started it off, and then people were like rada, and then eventually Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer, I believe he made an announcement saying, guys we've heard you, please listen to our official Xbox podcast, where they then officially announced for the first two titles being Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment, and then followed by Sea of Thieves and Grounded. And then, this led to a lot of controversy, specifically in terms of like, well, why do I have an Xbox if, all of our exclusives are not exclusive, which is a fair, criticism in regards to, this whole decision of, bringing exclusive games that are exclusive to the Xbox to the Nintendo Switch and the PlayStation. So yeah, no, hey, it happens. But at least it seems to be like the sentiment within the podcast was that, hey, we're just kind of testing this out, not necessarily, just don't think this is the expectation going forward. We just, hey, we're just trying it out. He said he also thinks there will be fewer console exclusives across the industry over the next decade. So I don't know. It is at one end it's like okay, but then it's like I don't know. It comes off weird, like contradictory to some extent, I guess. But I don't know. It's I guess time will tell. People are thinking like the Indiana Jones game will eventually come to Xbox. So I think the biggest concern specifically is like, yeah, if like, Joe Smo is like, hey, I'm trying to get into games. What is a good game console to purchase? Hey, depending on what you want to play, blah, blah, blah. And, like, I feel like everybody's just going to recommend like a PlayStation for the most part, depending on, well, I mean, niche interest in games, notwithstanding, but I feel like, yeah, it's gonna be, it's even it was it was hard already to recommend, to have recommend somebody an Xbox, considering, the behemoth that is PlayStation. Mind you, somebody who loves his Xbox or whatever, but it's hard to recommend somebody who just wants to get in the game and to get an Xbox when you know have PlayStation and a Nintendo Switch technically in some instances. But now it does make the argument even harder, considering that, the component that was, making the Xbox appealing to a decent extent, which were the games exclusive to that platform outside of PC, not no longer no longer being the case is, you know it's even tougher. I mean, of course you can counter that with like, hey, Xbox Game Pass, you just get like an Xbox Series S, which like is only like $2.99, and then just subscribe to Game Pass, and then you can play a decent amount of games. But the games come and go, and if you have the same similar subscription, you can get on PS Plus, that has like the same offering where you can, there's a set amount of games you can play and whatnot. And then you also have the exclusives that are generally bar for bar, like spectacular. It's tough to, it's just overall not making the Xbox look good in that respect. So I guess time will tell, but after we start seeing like more and more exclusives come to PlayStation, like, I think people were throwing around like, oh yeah, well, get ready for Halo coming to PlayStation, get ready for Gears coming to PlayStation, which I think Gears actually was, I forgot who said it, but it was some credible folks that did suggest that is being at least experimented on, or potentially might be a thing. And that just to me is so bizarre. Personally, as somebody who is just familiar with Gears being exclusive to Xbox, and Halo being exclusive to Xbox, and oh man, playing Halo on a PlayStation is just gonna feel so weird to me. I'll probably just mess with it just out of curiosity, but I probably never would. I probably would generally just stay on Xbox, but I don't know. I guess it does also bring in the other side where it's like, getting more exposure. So like, Joe Schmo who never would have played Halo anyway, because, hey, PlayStation all day, PlayStation till the day I die, cross until I cross. Bars. That they never would play Halo until now that, like, Xbox has offered it on the PlayStation platform, and now more people are playing Halo that otherwise wouldn't. I mean, that is an interesting prospect too. So that's gonna be tough. That sounds tough to navigate already, but I mean, Xbox is going in that direction in regards to having exclusive games, or utilizing Game Pass as their marquee selling point. So there also probably could be that aspect where Xbox Game Pass is offered. I don't know if PlayStation would do that. I think it'd be a lot of compromise in there. But either way, that could be what they're working towards too. And then, of course, people also had the concern like, oh man, is this the way of the Sega? Are they just gonna just completely just start jumping ship and no longer, selling consoles now or whatever. Which apparently Phil Spencer said no, that's not the case. We are doing that still. We plan to keep doing that, but I don't know, man. It's a weird. This is a weird space we're starting to navigate in. So time will tell. Time will tell as more exclusives pop out and stuff like that. I think that's really the only, I don't know, indication of where things are gonna head or whatever. So we shall see. We shall see. We shall see. Moving on. Sony is testing PlayStation VR compatibility. Who would have thought? So, probably the biggest caveat, in my opinion, if not one, was the PSVR2 pretty much being exclusive to the PlayStation. You can only play it on PlayStation. You can't play it on PC at all. Now, at least seems like that PlayStation is changing their tune potentially. So in their PlayStation blog, we're pleased to share that we are currently testing the ability for PSVR2 players to access additional games on PC to offer even more game variety in addition to the PSVR2 titles available through PS5. We hope to make this support available in 2024, so stay tuned for more updates. So, pretty much seems like presumably what it's trying to compete more with the Oculus Quest line of headsets, which have had this feature, which at least got me to get one, which I've barely played since, but nonetheless, it did get me to get one because of just the flexibility, being able to use it on its own as well as use it with your PC. I think was very compelling. So that's at least what basically led me to get it. I think it was at a pretty good price on sale. So I was like, let me bite. This being a good while back, but so now with the PSVR 2, $500 piece of hardware, and you can only use it with PS5, and it's not even backwards compatible. With the exception of if the games that games that you did have on PSVR, the developer can't update the game themselves, but you potentially might have to pay a little bit more to do the quote unquote upgrade to PSVR 2 for some, and I think some are doing it free, but either way, it's like you have that caveat, and then I think that those points alone make the PSVR 2 a hard sell in of itself. But now that you got the compatibility, the standard compatibility with the PS5, and now you have the option to use the PSVR 2 with your PC, I think that does make it more enticing of a product. So, I'll probably wait out and see how people are liking it when at least this is official, like the compatibility with PC is official, to see if that's even worthwhile in its current state. And, if so, then, potentially look into acquiring one some way, somehow. I don't know. But Um, but yeah, good on PlayStation to, you know, realize that, you know, forcing not forcing us to just exclusively be on your console when, you know, PC is right there, which and for most people is not a direct competitor to console. If anything, is a supplemental um option for a lot of people that uh don't want to that, you know, want to play something that they can't play on PSVR on the console but can play on PC, or already maybe have it purchased on PC through the Quest or whatever. So good on Sony again. Gotta give them some flowers for that. You know, you just got to. You just got to. With that being said, I think that will conclude the news for this episode. Let's get into what I have as I'm editing, live editing real quick to not mess myself up, because we both don't want that. We really don't want that. I don't want it. If you want it, you can have it. I don't want it though. I don't want it at all. You can take it. Get into what I've been playing, which has been, well, it's definitely been a lot, but I can't remember everything. Palworld. The craze that, well, it feels like it's come and gone, but I know people are still, there's probably a lot of diehard people still playing, but Palworld was, man, that was was a unique experience, to say the least. But yeah, shouts out to my man Hex. He gifted me a copy of the game. Otherwise, I wouldn't have. Well, I did play a bit on Game Pass actually, but I found out that the Game Pass version on the Xbox is like way earlier than the Steam version. So it's like a couple versions behind the Steam version of the game, which is, after playing both versions, yeah, the Steam version feels a little bit more polished. Mind you, both of these games are in early access. So in early access, it's basically like you're more or less playing a alpha of the game. So a lot of issues are to be expected. But nonetheless, man, yeah. So Palworld is pretty much, after playing probably like 30 hours, it feels like, I'd say, is like, if pretty much the Pokemon game I think a lot of us really wanted growing up, for sure. Obviously for copyright reasons, it's taken some liberties, and that's been a point of controversy for a lot of people, is that, you know, oh man, this it's an electric mouse, but it's blue. Oh, okay, all right. Well, I mean, it's not infringing on anything, but you know, that's that's been a controversial point where, like, okay, this is clearly ripped off, and then people, nah, not really. I mean, it looks similar, but it's not. It's a different. They're pals. They're not Pokemon. They're pals. And then, you know, they do your work for you. So that's another aspect of the game where they you have a base, and you build up the base, and you basically work towards, you know, expanding your base, and a big component of that are your pals. So when you capture pals, you can have them serve this feels horrible, have them serve your base. So they do a lot of grunt work. They can mine, they can garden, and, you know, scavenge and stuff like that. So all of that's being done while, you know, you're out and about, And you can also, when you come back, you can also help them, and they can also come out of their way to like help you build and yeah, basically build stuff and things like that. So and then of course probably the thing that definitely sets it apart from Pokemon is the violence and guns. So, you know, the biggest kind of reputation. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. The probably one of the more notable reputations of the game going around, like, hey, it's Pokemon with guns, which to after playing it is kind of unfair. An unfair general description, but I mean elevated pitch wise, I mean it kind of gets the point across, but at the same time doesn't, which is hard to it's hard to explain. But either way, you as you progress in the chain, so basically it is like a survival game. It's not really like a traditional Pokemon game in that sense of what you think a traditional Pokemon game is. It's the biggest pillar of the game is survival, and pretty much it's more similar to what I believe survival arc system evolved survival arc something arc evolved arc something. What am I? Arc survival evolved. Okay, I think I haven't heard that in a while, so it did not sound right. But nonetheless, more similar to Arc Survival Evolved than Pokemon, but it's kind of like both. It's kind of like if you mixed, you know, Arc Survival Evolved and Pokemon had a baby, it would be Palworld. I think that's probably a more accurate description of the game. So yeah, pretty much there's, you know, you have to take care of your hunger. You have to pay attention to if you're cold or hot in certain areas. You have to tend to your pals, make sure they have beds to sleep on as they basically slave for you at the base. And you have to also check in with your pals in terms like if they're one's getting frustrated or angry, or there's also the characteristics of the pals in terms of a work environment. Like one is considered a slacker who doesn't do won't do much work around the base, and you know, things like that to kind of consider. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the even the gun part that takes a good while to even get to, because like at least where I left off, I only got like a blunderbuss, which, you know, one of those ancient rifles that you gotta every one shot you gotta reload after each shot. But yeah, as you progress and level up and stuff, you know, will eventually get to make and craft guns. And then that is the other thing. There's boss battles, and then within the boss battles you can, like, you know, throw your pal out and have your pal fight, but at the same time you can also shoot them and you know, physically hurt them with like your objects like bats and stuff like that. And then you can also kill your pals and various pals in the wild and stuff. It's kind of sad, but it's funny. It's like its own. It's pretty much an adult Pokemon in a lot of ways. Not like explicitly like crazily adult, but it does things that Pokemon would never do. Honestly, like, you know, you can maim your pals and like butcher pals, and yeah, that just crazy thinking about that. And then yeah, so then it's a lot to this game actually, but at least in my experience playing it, I just got to a point where I'm like, okay, this is a little too rough for me. I'm gonna let it cook. Let it cook. Let it cook. I'm gonna let it cook. And then probably come back to it, because I know that's going to be a way more, and I'm kind of just curious and fascinated to kind of do that approach now as well. Like, you know, having experience to play the game when it was rough, and then like, you know, letting it cook, and then coming back to like when the game is like very polished. I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, so it was also funny seeing Pokemon kind of come in defense in a lot of ways. Like I think they were doing some very like random obscure tweets, obviously when the craze was Palworld at the time, which Palworld, forgot to mention that Palworld was breaking so many records, like being the highest concurrent players on Steam many times, and that kept increasing to certain extents, and just crazy just for this a game that's not even technically quote unquote released yet, but is in beta alpha, early access, whatever implication is tied with that. But very impressive, very impressive. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I got it. It scratched that Pokemon itch that Pokemon itself could not scratch for me for a good while. Which that definitely kept me captivated. And also, how could I forget about the multiplayer aspect, which is very fun. Like a friend of mine, he built a dedicated server, and so pretty much it's an ongoing world that you can come and go out of. And, you know, that now there's the multiplayer aspect where, you know, you can team up with other people to beat up these monsters and boss monsters and capture monsters and stuff like that. They got their version of sparkly, is it sparkly Pokemon? I think sparkly Pokemon, whatever. So, man, the potential is very much there. I mean, technically, it already is. To be honest, it's definitely putting Pokemon to shame in a lot of ways. Which I think this is great in that aspect as well, because you know Pokemon is gonna have to like turn it up now, especially with this game that's gotten crazily huge overnight, pretty much. And you know, Pokemon over here just, you know, kind of just skimping along and going with the speed because we have no other option. But now that we have a direct competition now, I think that's really going to light a fire under Game Freak's ass, and you know, hopefully get us the Pokemon game we've been wanting sooner rather than later. So it's crazy to think that like a long time ago we, you know, saw this semi-viral video of like, you know, what are these people using this sheep as a human shield? What the hell? These are Pokemon with guns? What the hell? But now that's fully realized, like, wow, this game is legit and it's fun as hell and addictive. It definitely has a really good gameplay loop for sure, where, you know, you're progressing, your pals are building up your base, you're slowly, and the game itself gives you objectives to strive for, and it isn't like, you know, you make your own like objectives, which that always turns me off in a way where like I hate that much freedom. I liked to have some form of direction. So yeah, man, Palworld is great. Definitely gonna be, I would not be surprised, definitely is gonna be like a game of the year conversation. Would it win? I don't know. I mean, there's some people that live and die by that game by now, so we'll see. Palworld, man, that was very unexpected. Very, I was not ready. I was not ready for it. I really wasn't. And also played Tekken 8. So yeah, finished the story, played a little bit, of, well, I pretty much played everything really. So yeah, story mode was very fun. Really enjoyed it. I liked the, I think they call it simple. I forgot. Basically similar. Well, the Street Fighter, I guess, yeah, kind of similar to modern controls in Street Fighter 6, where you basically can toggle this mode that pretty much lets you do easy combos for every character, which is helpful for like characters you never play or don't ever really intend to learn, that you can just play and get a decent combos and stuff without, you know, the barrier, the steep barrier to entry, like that is combos and stuff like that, that, you know, the getting in the lab and practice mode and stuff like that, that at least now, especially considering how frequent you switch characters in this story mode, makes a lot of sense. So really enjoyed that. There was a little Tekken Force love. Not They made it seem greater than what it was, which I was getting very much hyped for. But yeah, there was some Tekken Force. Well, no, Tekken Force Dynasty Warriors, more accurately, Tekken Force Dynasty Warriors. But man, I wish we got Tekken Force. That I hope that comes back at some point. But I miss it. I miss it. I miss it so much. I do. Tekken Force. But there is Tekken Ball, which was pretty fun. I played a few matches here and there. And then there's what is it called? Arcade damn it. What is it? Tekken 8 modes. Arcade Quest. Yeah, so Arcade Quest is kind of like pretty much a disguised tutorial thing where you pretty much you create your avatar, which you use in the online mode where you can explore, you know, the online areas. And then from there you know, have some general characters who like basically teach you some of the fundamentals, basics of the game, and maybe some more intermediate stuff, and then kind of goes from there, which I did enjoy. I as somebody who's very seasoned when it comes to Tekken, at least growing, pretty much playing that since I was knew how to game. It was still insightful and fun, so I really enjoyed that. And it does give you certain objectives to do, to kind of, you know, force you, not necessarily force you, encourage you to, you know, implement a lot of the mechanics and, you know, dimensions of your character and stuff like that. So found that pretty dope. Online, I didn't play too much, but I think I need to tinker with some of the settings, because your boy is getting whooped, and at least the match itself didn't feel that great. But I was like, let me just play Ghost Battle. So they do have Ghost Battle here. I think it's called Ghost Battle still. Yeah, or Super Ghost Battle, where basically I think you can, you know, select certain random people to fight, or you can well, after you fight one person, you can just keep going, like Treasure Battle from the Tekken 7, which is pretty dope. Anything notable outside of that? Training mode was actually pretty in depth and pretty helpful. Like they have a punishing tutorial, which kind of teach you how to punish. I haven't tried it yet, but I think I might have played it with it. But there's a dope feature where if you play back your replays from certain games, you can actually take control of the character, which is dope. So like this one infamous moment where King just got you in this throw loop. You're like, damn, how can I get out of this? So you can essentially literally replay the state of that replay, and then kind of branch off and see how you could actually, you know, go against that, which is pretty dope. I really dig that. Really dig that. Yeah. What else? Oh yeah, the character customization. Oh man, social media has been a trip. What are some of the notable ones? Cisco, somebody turned Raven, the black ninja, aka nigga, into Cisco, which is very funny. Somebody did like a whole like straight up video satire of it. Drake, because yeah, they got like a pretty much for it seems like for every character they got a default Drake cut. Um, they call it a fade, but a Drake cut essentially. So everybody that has it on just pretty much instantly turns into Drake for the most part, which is very hilarious. And then also, not mind you, not the they got the tan option. So for your character skin, so like somebody like Brian Fury, of course, my main. I was like, let me. I basically turned him to Drake, so I have some version of Drake in there too. So that's very funny. Shouts out to the character creator. That was it seems to be pretty in depth. I've not gotten nitty gritty with it. I'm pretty basic when it comes to character creation. I don't get too crazy. I may I do little liberties here and there, but nothing along the lines of like at least what a lot of people I've seen online have been doing. So yeah. Shouts out to the character creator, but overall feels very great. I'm still trying to learn Brian Fury, his new move sets, and the heat system is pretty technical, pretty that in of itself, and for each character, mind you, is like a whole nother layer of the game now, where you kind of have to see what you can combo in and out of and stuff like that. So yeah man. Tekken is back. I mean, I guess it technically kind of left for 7 to an extent, but I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed Tekken, but yeah, another solid as Tekken. I've so many stuff has come out. I've not had like at least the ample time to fully devote to Tekken, but I definitely plan to keep periodically playing here and there. As probably one of my favorite fighting games series. I am for sure. So yeah. Then what else? Of course, in the immense anticipation of Final Fantasy VII. At least what I've been doing, pretty much since a remake was coming out, I pretty much have been playing the original up until where it at least is said that the respective titles end from the base game original. So at least for remake, I pretty much played up until where the game ends, right before you go into the world. I forgot what the open world for FF7 is, but nonetheless. Then I started playing pretty much up until the end of the Temple of the Ancients, which is basically where the original ends. So I pretty much literally played up until then. Did some exploring with the PS4 version of OG FF7. It has God mode, and like you can skip random encounters and stuff like that, which has been fun. Since I've never really played with those with this version. So I was like, let me mess with these, and they're pretty legit, pretty fun, and also really dope means to like kind of skip past like the poorly aged aspects of FF7, where random encounters and arbitrary random encounters and stuff like that. So But yeah, story wise, I've thoroughly been enjoying it. It hits it, and at least in my head, it's just been getting me in a mind space of like, man, what is this? What are they gonna do in the remake now? What are they gonna do in Rebirth? How is this gonna play out? That I've just been very immensely fascinated by, and just been just very curious like how things are gonna play out. So I cannot wait in that aspect. So yeah, definitely has got me very hyped for, if not more than I already am, for a Rebirth in that regard. So yeah. Then also I of course I would be remiss not to play the demo for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So the first demo is the Nibelheim demo, where you see Sephiroth and Cloud before things go awry, which is very fun. Of course, just playing Sephiroth. I didn't even tell it to change my voice, but that works. That's
Sephiroth.
Oh, that's funny. I like it. I like it a lot. Damn, that threw my train of thought. Yeah, it was Sephiroth and Cloud just doing very much borderline homosexual stuff, which in this context I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm not mad at it. Like, I'm not mad. I mean, I get it. I get it. I mean, Sephiroth is just such an, what's the word, androgynous? Let me look that up. I'm not trying to look stupid. I'm pretty androgynous. Partly male, partly female in appearance. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's pretty much, that is very much Sephiroth. Yeah, he has, pretty much, very, very, partly male and female appearance. Cause yeah. That's very accurate. Wow. Okay. We are learning live. Well, reinforcing. Let me say that. But yeah, that was great. Oh man, just seeing the whole thing fleshed out in fully graphical capabilities is man, it was an experience to behold. And best believe if you play Nibelheim in the demo, you can skip it in the main game. Between you and me,
I'm not skipping. I'm gonna play it again.
It was so good. I'm gonna play it again. I'm gonna play it. Don't even give me the option, Square. I'm just gonna play it again. You don't gotta tell me I need to skip. I don't want to. So also I'm curious, like with Square, they dropped some patches for the demo that is also supposed to be within the main game as well, of some graphical improvements, because there's been complaints about performance mode specifically, mainly performance mode, where it looks very blurry, like, seems like the resolution is like 1080p. We're trying to run at 60 FPS, which is very odd, but I guess I did play the other demo too, but it definitely seemed better, but hard to tell overall. I'm definitely gonna look at them Digital Foundry reviews, see, get all the nitty gritty stuff. You see here, the anti-aliasing was off, totally off. So this is definitely checkerboarded at the 4K. You know, oh, I love that shit. I love it so much. That gets the blood going. To be not gonna, I mean, just to keep it real. Yeah. So, without spoiling stuff, really thoroughly enjoyed the Nibelheim demo. Then I think about a week later, they also dropped the Junon. That's the city, Junon demo, where basically you can explore a decent amount of the world of Junon and like fight some monsters and stuff like that before going into a story component, and then that's pretty much the demo. But very fun. Got to play like the simulations have come back from FF7 remake, so that's been cool. But yeah, it's thoroughly enjoyed it as well. They gave us a little trailer, which felt a little too spoilery for me, but nonetheless, I mentally in my head just forgot it. So it worked out more or less. But yeah, I mean, I was already hyped for Rebirth. Now I'm even more hyped. So there you go. There you go. Yeah, man. Rebirth hype. Get hype. Get hype for Rebirth. I'm so hype. I'm so hyped for Rebirth. I'm just gonna eat it. I'm just gonna consume Rebirth so much. The amount of Rebirth that's I just realized I just realized what I was the amount of Rebirth I'm gonna consume. The amount of, what is it? Underbirth, in-birth. It's, man. Either I still, what I said still stands. The amount of Rebirth I'm gonna consume is just gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. So cannot wait to play. But yeah. Rebirth, baby. And with that being said, I think that will conclude episode 189 of Switch's Sights. Yeah, man. Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna have it in the first half, but then I at least I nutted up, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we did it. I am back. Hopefully to stay. I don't know. But either way, I am back, and hopefully this leap year stuff doesn't, destroy this episode for some reason. I don't know why, but yeah. Yeah, man. Well, if you did like this episode, feel free to like, rate, and subscribe on your favorite podcasting platforms. You can also catch the archive of this podcast on YouTube at youtube.com/SaySwitch. You can also catch me record this live on Twitch TV/SaySwitch. And yeah, until next time, y'all, get your damn game on. Feel free to fuck. Aw, yeah.
Rebirth.
Nobody's safe.